Now, we all have our own particular style of not listening. Mine happens to be cutting people off halfway through to complete their sentence for them, not letting them finish before I answer, which is a little frustrating for someone when they're trying to get their idea across. But we all have things like this, and the idea is this is an incomplete list. I want you to, as you think about it, add other things that you see that take place. And all we can demonstrate here are the verbal cues with the vast majority of what people communicate with, what people really understand being nonverbal. You also need to think about all of the different nonverbal ways that we interrupt the flow of what people are trying to say in a misguided attempt to try to defend ourselves from feeling any discomfort or pain. First example I'll give you is nitpicking. It's quite common for people to nitpick, to pick on a small detail in what someone else said in order to diminish or put the person on defensive, win a point, and stop them from finishing what they have to say. So, for instance, that person might say, what you said last Wednesday really hurt me. And the answer is, was it Wednesday or Thursday? Who cares? What matters is that the person can express their feelings fully. At the same time, you can build enough information to understand things from their point of view. In all of these examples, there is one common thread, which is that chances are, if your lips are moving and sound is coming out, you're not listening. So while they're talking, you shouldn't be talking. Another example is misdirection by denial, which is an example of where they ask the question and then you misdirect and deny the reality of what they're saying, the feelings that they're feeling. The most famous of which is the reverse, which they actually teach in sales. Now, reverse can be a wonderful tool for getting people to talk more, but it used in a kind of a perverse reverse, it can do the opposite. So, for instance, they ask, they say, what you said last Wednesday really hurt, and you say, isn't communication important to you? Now, we've all had people do that. But you got to admit, it's not exactly the nicest answer and certainly is going to get the person to clam up. Then there's another example of the reverse, which is where they ask what you said last Wednesday really hurt, and they respond, oh, like you never heard me. So in this point, you're reversing the message, making yourself look to be the victim. That's really kind of dirty pool and is guaranteed to end the conversation. There's overreacting, where they ask a question and you completely overreact, go into a completely defensive posture and retreat. There's cut them off at the pass, where they ask their question and then you make a directive, declarative, strong statement like, stop overreacting. Really, you're too sensitive. I'm sure they're going to tell you what they really think after hearing that. There's messing with their reality, where you respond, oh, I was just kidding. I'm sorry you took it the wrong way. This is a very common one. It's one actually that I use sometimes when things get a little tense between me and those I love. But it's not fair because it's, in essence, telling the other person they're crazy the way they see things. Guaranteed to cut off a conversation. Is finishing their sentence, another one of my favorites. So it's something like, what you said last week, I hurt your feelings, I know, I'm sorry. Well, that absolves you of having to feel, aren't you a big person? You admit that you did something wrong, but you never got a chance to hear the full depth of their feelings, and you answered the question before you knew what the question really was, which I suppose in your personal life, if you want to do that, that's fine, but in your business life, you cannot afford to do that, or you will have unwanted effects. Here's tell a story. They say what they say. You tell a story about a completely different topic and try to move the conversation in a different direction. There's over the top, where they say what they have to say, and then you use overkill, asking a string of questions, one after another. There's the machine gun misdirect, which is to answer the same way, rapid-fire questions that, again, make you appear like a hero, like you're really trying to find out what's going on. But in truth, what you're doing is interrupting the other person and throwing them off. So they say, what you said last Wednesday really hurt, and you respond, what time of day? What were we talking about? Were we alone or with others? Why bring this up now? Did I seem angry to you? There's a million ways to diminish people, and some people are masters at diminishing people. They could throw Abraham Lincoln off of his Gettysburg Address. There's the famous they said, or people are saying, without ever really specifying who those people are. And no matter what other people say, who cares? Because the person talking to you is saying that's what you want to hear what they have to say. There's a punch in the gut coming back with a hard, declarative sentence right after they say what they have to say. It's guaranteed to shut them up. And then there's the laugh track, which is to consistently laugh all the time when the person's saying something. That'll throw someone off. And then there's timing. It's like the master comedian who was asked by someone, what's the secret to good comedy? And he said, please, ask me that question again. And so the person said, what's the secret to good timing? Wait, excuse me. I've got a cell phone call coming in. Okay, John, okay. Yeah, hold on just a minute. Look, could everybody please be quiet? I mean, keep the noise down. I've got a phone call here. Shh, okay? Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Okay, thanks a lot, John. So you were saying? Oh, wait a minute, another call. Hold on. And then there's active listening, what you should do, which is let them talk, and if they reach a lull in the conversation, or you get the sense, as we discussed, that they're not telling you the full story, you ask soft, leading questions that demand more than just a simple answer to encourage them to keep talking. Things like, I'm so sorry if I had said something to hurt you. What did I say? Can work, but even better, there's, and when I said it, you felt. Do you see the difference? One of them is a little put offish. The other is just kind and leading them in. It's almost nurturing and mothering. Tell me more about last Wednesday. That used to be the old joke about the psychiatrist. In fact, at one time there's a computer program that all it did is say, tell me more about how you feel hurt. So you felt hurt when I said, which is even better. For your assignment, what I want you to do is I want you to sit down and think of 6, that's all, 6 different techniques that you use in listening to other people to end rather than deepen the conversation. And then I want you to think of nonverbal things that you do, and then send them to me by email, and I'll listen.